Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sunburst Sanctuary. My name is David, and I'll be speaking today. And the topic is living in gratitude. It is always the topic the Sunday before Thanksgiving every year. And a number of us have done it a few different times. I'd like to start by reading from Paramahansa Yogananda. Thanksgiving and praise open in your consciousness the way for spiritual growth and supply to come to you. Spirit pushes itself out into visible manifestation as soon as a channel is opened through which it can flow. You should be thankful for everything at all times. Realize that all power to think and speak and act comes from God, and that God is with you now, guiding and inspiring you. Many times in our Sunday meditations, we talk about the lives of different people in history, usually, who have inspired us in our journey to soul awakening and the perfection of virtue in our lives. And a lot of times these are teachers. Some of those teachers are on our walls in the temple here today. Or maybe we'll talk about someone who we're not all familiar with, but has a great message to share. But usually, these people that we talk about have already left the earth. They're no longer in physical form. And so today, I wanted to take a chance and talk about someone who's still here with us. And for many, many years, well, not all of you know, but many of you know that I worked for a company called New Frontiers Natural Foods for 30 years, actually. And for 25 of those years, I was in Arizona. We had 3 stores over there, and I was working over there, helping anchor that endeavor. It was really, really quite a great experience. And New Frontiers had, and still does have in our Solvang store, an incredible culture. I can remember people would come into our store, customers, and they would say, "What is going on in here? It just feels so good. What is the secret?" And I kind of had an idea. I knew what the secret was. And as I look back, I have even more of an idea. But there was a special quality, and there continues to be a special quality in that store that we have now. And so when I think about gratitude, I think, well, what is an incredible example of gratitude that I could talk about today? The kind of gratitude that has an impact on many, many, many people. And so it made me think about my dear friend, Jonathan King, who was my boss, although he'll always say, "No, Dave, nobody ever bossed you," but he was my boss, and he was the president of New Frontiers. And Jonathan, I will just say this, in my mind, Jonathan is the reason that New Frontiers developed the incredibly huge heart that company has and always had when we had 5 stores in 2 states. He taught me so much about the importance of appreciating people. He used to say, you know, I can't really rub shoulders with the customers out on the retail floor because he was busy doing his job as the president. He was making sure we had health benefits and making sure that all the vendors were getting paid and everything that goes on behind the scenes that mostly people don't think about. So he said, I can't really rub shoulders with the customers, but I think of every team member who works for New Frontiers as my customer. And I want to take care of the team members the way that we want our team members to take care of our customers. Always remember that and always really enjoy the idea. And it wasn't just an idea, it was in action. It was happening. Jonathan's the one who introduced everyone at New Frontiers to some different concepts about leadership. One of the books that he introduced to us was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And in that book, Stephen Covey talks a lot about the importance of what he calls people-centered enterprises. And Jonathan really took this to heart when he read that book. And he would put the welfare of the team members seemingly sometimes ahead of the welfare of the company. An example of that would be, I can remember more than once when New Frontiers, over the years that I was involved, was not doing that well. And we were having trouble getting the margins we needed and generating the profit to make sure that we weren't just staying alive, but we were growing a little bit so we could go on into the future. And as we were reviewing the different things that could be done, we would look at the healthcare package. And I can remember myself and others in the room saying, you know, we just need to cut these benefits because it's just, we can't afford them right now. And Jonathan would, as the president, would say, the benefits are so important to the team members. We have to do everything we can to keep a rich benefit package so that we can take care of our team members. Now, this is, to me, this is an incredible display of gratitude. And you can bet that the team members could feel it. They might not know how poorly the company was doing at the time, and they might not know that their benefits were on the line at one point. But they knew that they kept going. And Stephen Covey says, if you take care of the people, then the bottom line will follow. And that was a philosophy that Jonathan followed when he was the president of New Frontiers. Another thing that Stephen Covey talks about a lot in his writings is what we call the emotional bank account or the trust account. And it's kind of like what we were just talking about. It's when you put deposits into people's emotional bank account. It builds deep, deep trust. And then people are really ready and willing to do whatever they can to help make the company successful because they want to give back what they're feeling is being offered to them. And I remember a team member one time, and I'm not going to use his name. He probably wouldn't mind, but I don't want to just for privacy purposes. But he told me when he was first getting to know New Frontiers and he was having a meeting with Jonathan and talking with Jonathan, and they were talking about what can we do to really differentiate ourselves as a company? Because in the food industry, you know, some people are known for their incredible produce, and some companies are known for their incredible delis, and all these different things, you know, and it kind of is the hallmark of their company. And Jonathan said to this individual, he said, I'm not sure if we can be the best at any one of those things, but what I do know is that I will do everything I can to take the best care of you as possible. And this brother said, when he told me that when he said that, he said, I was ready to follow Jonathan anywhere at that point. But it wasn't just words, it was backed up with action. Jonathan used to, he would talk a lot to me about giving people the benefit of the doubt. Like, don't jump to conclusions about what you might think is going on with people. Really dig in and find out. Because when you're in a position of management or leadership, you have so much impact on people's lives by the decisions that you make. In fact, I heard once that in most people's lives, their boss is one of the 5 most important people in their life. And I can say when I worked at New Frontiers, that was true of me. Jonathan was definitely one of the most important people in my life in that regard. One of the 7 habits that Covey talks about is seek first to understand and then to be understood. And I think this was the same thing that Jonathan was saying, is give each other the benefit of the doubt. Try to understand where people are coming from. Again, this is such a gift, and it's driven, to me, it's driven by gratitude. It's like we have to foster the kind of trust with each other where we are grateful for the relationships that we have with each other, and we want to make them richer by understanding each other. He also introduced us to a book called Good to Great, and by a man named Jim Collins. And in this book, the team of people that wrote this book, they took 5 years to write it, and they studied different companies, Fortune 500 companies mostly. And they tried to identify what made some companies good and what made some companies great. And they came up with this term that every great company had what they called a level 5 leader. And there were different, you know, there was the level 1 leader and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, but the really great companies had a leader who had all of those qualities, and they called him a level 5 leader. And the story that I remember out of there that I always liked and impacted me at the time was that a level 5 leader, when things are going good in the company, they look out the window and they see all the people in the company that are helping make the company successful. And they identify those people as the ones who are making the company great. And they say, and maybe we've had some good luck, but look at the great people. Look how wonderful everyone is and how hard they're working. But when things are not going good in the company, they look in the mirror and they take responsibility, and they don't say anything about this is bad luck. They just say, what do I need to do? What do I need? What changes do I need to make? How do I need to start looking at things differently to help this company get back on track? And the they say in the book, and I can say it was true at New Frontiers too, that the kind of the twist in that is, in a company like that, all the people that are on the other side of the window are looking back and going, wow, look how successful we are because of our great leader. Everybody's appreciating and giving gratitude to each other. It's just this flow of positivity that just spins a vortex of fantastic energy. So Jonathan modeled really highly developed leadership skills when he was a president at New Frontiers. And this is something that I am personally forever grateful for. He helped me in so many ways, helped me expand my way of looking at things. But I wanted to share that he also had one heck of a sense of humor. And we spent hours on the phone when I was in Arizona, and I would be crying. I would be laughing so loud at the things that Jonathan and I would be talking about. He's one of the handful of people who literally would make me cry when I was laughing. But he told a story a couple of times over the years, and he might have probably told it more than once, because if you know Jonathan, he will tell stories over and over sometimes. But this one, I never stopped him because I always wanted to hear it again. But it was typically in reference to trying to understand if somebody really understands what we're trying to convey as a company. If a manager is really getting what it is that we're talking about. And so he would tell this story about the missionary and the cannibal. And he would say, a missionary wanders in to a cannibal village, and there's the chief cannibal standing there. And the missionary, he's so happy because he found somebody that he could convert to his beliefs, which he is completely bought into. He's so, he's just so grateful that he's going to be able to help this heathen see the light. And the cannibal is looking back at him and thinking, what am I going to eat first, the arm or the leg? So this really goes into the whole idea of we see the world as we are, not necessarily as it is. We all have a personal autobiography going on all the time. We're looking through a lens. All of us could go outside, look at the landscape, and each one of us would have a different thing to say about it because we're all seeing it through our perspective. So Jonathan is a good example to me, and I hope that through my stories today, you also can all appreciate Jonathan in that same way. And so many of you here know Jonathan anyway, and you know the incredible generosity that he has. He doesn't have to be the president of a company to find ways to share what he has to offer with others. And I know that we all know that about our brother Jonathan. And what can be said about one can be said about all. And yes, Jonathan is a great example. He had the opportunity to take his gifts and lead an organization that had 5 stores and an organic farm, and I don't know how many, but probably at least 600 employees. He also had the type of skills, leadership skills, not just to care about people, but when a hard decision needed to be made, he made those hard decisions. with that many people over that many years, there can be a lot of drama and a lot of hard things can happen. And Jonathan met every one of those challenges and helped those around him meet those challenges as well. Each of us, we can all create what we would call people-first environments in our lives. And I think most of us, or maybe all of us, already are doing that. But it's a good reminder, if we're involved in a company and we think about how important the people in that company are, and we put their welfare above our own even, put it first. Or if we're in a family, a relationship, same thing. It takes, and to use another term, it takes valuing the differences in people in order to get past those differences and then start working together and synergize and become something greater than you could ever become just on your own. And you develop true gratitude for those people in your lives that up until that point may have been so different to you. You may have not felt like you had anything in common with them or you could connect with them at all. And then I will say this, that even in the relationships that we have with our pets, the relationships we have with nature, probably most importantly, the relationship we have with ourselves and our relationship with whatever we want to call the soul of the universe, divine consciousness, that we take the time to go inside and establish this loving, deep relationship for ourselves through connecting with our higher nature and through our devotion to good works and to improving our lives in whatever way we can. Really, the only time in our lives, typically if we think about it, that we aren't embracing the idea of gratitude and it's not flowing out naturally is when we're just really stressed out, overloaded by whatever's going on in our life, and maybe full of fear from something that's going on in our life or something long ago in our life that we don't even remember. And you know what? It's okay, because we're human, and the human condition can be hard. That's when having gratitude for ourselves and giving ourselves some compassion can really be helpful. To remember that we really are multi-dimensional beings and that our nature is love, peace, freedom, and joy, and every other good thing that you can think of. To remember that, it's hard sometimes to remember that when we're here, but when we can remember that, it fills our heart with gratitude. And then we're able to share it with each other. Let's go into a quiet meditation of about 15 minutes. And April is going to take us into our silent period with the singing bowls. to express some more gratitude today before we close. And I feel like I'm speaking about everyone in this room and to everyone in this room with collective gratitude. And I'm being sent out to the folks who make our music every Sunday, record the audio and visuals for future listeners, prepare, serve, and clean up our brunches, care for the children and offer them spiritual guidance during our service, clean the lodge and temple, make the journey to join the Sunday services from near and far, maintain the labyrinth and rake the paths, and mow the grass and coordinate the retreat center activities, pay the bills and all the bookkeeping needs, care for the vegetable garden, volunteer for the vegetable garden, feed the horses and cows, fix the fences, maintain and contribute inspirations to the website, take care of our little store. Gratitude to our founder and lineage teachers and all who continue in service and support of our beloved Sunburst experience. Every day is Thanksgiving when our intention is guided by the love of selfless service and the eternal gratitude to Divine Spirit. There's 100 more things that could have been listed. And I want to close with the same reading that I opened with because I find it profound. From Yogananda. Thanksgiving and praise open in your consciousness the way for spiritual growth and supply to come to you. Spirit pushes itself out into visible manifestation as soon as a channel is opened through which it can flow. You should be thankful for everything at all times. Realize that all power to think and speak and act comes from God, and that God is with you now, guiding and inspiring you.
Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the doors of my soul, Lord. Open the doors of my soul. I want to see you. I want to see you all across the earth, oh, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, 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 singing, holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. See you. I want to see you. Open the doors of my soul, Lord. Open the doors of my soul. I want to see you. I want to see you. To see you all across the earth, oh, shining your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, 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 see